My name is Clara Vance. I'm 25, a graffiti artist who makes a living by breathing life into the walls the city has long forgotten. I never imagined that 7 years of pouring my soul into those silent walls would turn out to be the biggest mistake of my life. I thought I was giving each stroke of paint a soul, but in truth, I was nothing more than a pawn in Liam's hands. Because of him, I sacrificed my career, lost my freedom, all to create murals that were never truly mine. Liam, the man I once foolishly called a benefactor, only wanted to turn me into a puppet in a game I never chose to play. And the cruelest part was that he used my own art to hide his monstrous crimes. But what Liam doesn't realize is that I'm no longer the obedient pawn I once was. I've been preparing for this moment for a very long time. This time, he's the one who will pay the price. I always thought the streets of Los Angeles spoke to me. The way the neon lights bounced off wet asphalt, the smell of tacos and exhaust mingling in the air, the rhythm of footsteps echoing down alleys, that was my world. I paint walls the city forgets about. People call it graffiti. I call it giving a voice to the voiceless. Maya, my best friend since we were teenagers, never understood why I'd risk getting arrested just to paint a wall. She's a photographer, always hovering with her camera like a guardian angel capturing moments that nobody else notices. "You know, Clara," she said one evening as we crouched behind a chain-link fence, "I don't know why you keep doing this. You could sell your art in galleries, make real money." I shrugged, flicking a splash of neon green across a rough brick wall. "Money doesn't speak, Maya. The streets speak, and they've got a lot to say." Eli was there too, his guitar slung over his back. He had this habit of showing up at the exact moment I needed a friend. "You always make it sound like the city's alive," he said, smiling, his fingers strumming a lazy chord. "Maybe it is, maybe it's listening." Our little crew had been at it for years, sneaking around corners, leaving colors where people usually only saw gray. Lucas, the owner of that tiny art supply shop tucked in a side street, was like our silent sponsor. He never judged, never asked questions, just handed us cans of spray paint and a knowing nod. "You kids keep the city interesting," he'd say. That night, the air smelled of rain that hadn't yet fallen. I was planning my biggest piece yet, a mural on an abandoned warehouse wall. It wasn't just a mural. It was a statement, a shout in colors about justice and inequality. I wanted people to stop, look, and think. I wanted to make them feel. Maya crouched beside me, camera in hand. "You really think this will get people talking?" I laughed, a little bitter. "Maybe not the people I want, but that's not the point." Art has its own way of traveling. As I outlined the first strokes of the mural, the city around me pulsed with its usual chaos. The distant wail of sirens, the rumble of buses, the chatter of late-night pedestrians. I felt alive in a way I never did in galleries or classrooms. This was raw, unfiltered. This was mine. Little did I know, that night the city would speak back in a way I wasn't prepared for. I heard voices behind the building, low and harsh. Shadows moved, figures I didn't recognize. At first, I thought it was just other street kids, maybe rival artists. Then I saw them. One of them went down before I could even blink. Blood sprayed like a broken line across the concrete. I froze, heart hammering. Maya's whisper came out sharp in my ears. "Clara, what is that?" I couldn't answer. My throat was dry. My eyes followed the scene, every detail searing into my memory. The men didn't see us yet. I realized then that I wasn't just a witness. I was the only one who had seen this, and if they knew I was here, I would be next. We retreated silently, hearts racing, adrenaline turning every shadow into a threat. I had to keep moving, keep my head down, blend into the city I thought I knew so well. That night changed everything. It wasn't just about art anymore. It was about survival, secrecy, and discovering just how much the city could hide in plain sight. As I walked through dark alleys, trying to calm my racing mind, I kept thinking about the mural. The colors I chose weren't just for the city, they might be the only clue I had left to expose what I saw. And I knew that, somehow, the painting itself could be more than just a statement. It could be a map, a message, maybe even a lifeline. I didn't know it then, but this mural would pull me into a game of cat and mouse, where the line between friend and foe blurred. Where the people I trusted could turn out to be the ones hunting me, and where the only way out was to trust in the city, in my art, and in myself. The night after I saw them, I couldn't sleep. Every shadow outside my window seemed alive, every creak in the floorboards a signal that someone was watching. I kept thinking about the warehouse, the mural, and the men I had seen. They weren't random street thugs, they moved with precision, and there was no mistake. Maya refused to leave my side. She brought her camera, but it was more for comfort than documentation. "Clara, you need a plan," she said, her voice trembling. "You can't just keep running blindly." I nodded, swallowing hard. I know, I don't know what they want me. The mural, something else. Eli appeared at my door, his guitar case in one hand, a backpack in the other. I thought I'd check on you. You've been ghosting all day. Ghosting? I laughed bitterly. Eli, if only you knew how literal that is right now. He frowned. Literal how? I hesitated. Telling him the truth meant dragging him into danger, but not telling him meant I'd be alone, I sighed. I saw them last night, Eli, a murder right behind the warehouse, and I think they know I saw. His eyes widened and he took a step back. Shit, Clara, we need to call the cops. No, I said quickly. They can't know I saw them. If the cops get involved, it could get messy. I mean, you don't understand. These guys are careful. And if they think I'm involved, I'm done. Maya put a hand on my shoulder. Then we hide, we move, we make sure they don't know where we are. I nodded, and we started making plans. Lucas became our quiet ally, offering safe spots around the city and extra spray paint in case we needed to leave marks to communicate. Use the city like a maze, he said, handing me a bundle of fluorescent tubes. It's your friend, don't let it become your prison. The next few days were tense. Every time I stepped outside, I scanned the streets for anyone unusual. Every alleyway felt like a trap. And somewhere in the back of my mind, Detective Harper's face flashed in my thoughts. He had been watching graffiti crews for years. Now, if he ever saw me near a crime scene, would he suspect me too? One evening, while checking the mural for progress, I felt a presence behind me. I froze, heart pounding. I turned slightly, pretending to adjust my spray cans, and caught a glimpse of a shadow disappearing down the alley. My stomach dropped. Someone had been following me. Maya whispered from the corner, Clara, do you think it's them? I clenched my fists. It has to be. They're looking for something, and I've got it in my head. They won't stop. Eli appeared from the opposite end of the street, strumming his guitar casually, pretending we weren't panicking. If you want my honest opinion, he said, we're in deep. Really deep? That night, we moved like ghosts, sleeping in different safe spots each hour, changing our paths, never using the same route twice. The city became a puzzle. Every familiar landmark was now a potential trap. Every neon sign a possible signal that someone was watching. I started noticing small things I had ignored before. Doors left slightly ajar, unfamiliar cars parked for too long, footsteps that didn't match the rhythm of the street. I realized that surviving wasn't just about running, it was about reading the city like a canvas. Every detail mattered. In the middle of this chaos, Jade appeared. I wasn't sure at first if I could trust her. She moved silently, observing everything, her presence both threatening and protective. You don't belong in this world, she said quietly one night, leaning against a fire escape. But if you want to survive, follow me? I didn't like it. I didn't trust her. But I also knew I had no choice. I nodded, trying to suppress the adrenaline shaking my hands. Okay, but if you double-cross me, you'll know, she said, her eyes sharp in the dim light. I've seen what they do to people who get in the way. That was the start of an uneasy alliance. Jade had her own reasons for helping, but it was enough for now. She guided us through forgotten alleys, abandoned rooftops, and backdoor entrances that only someone with connections could know. Still, the city pressed in. Every time I glanced at my mural, I remembered why this all started. The colors, the shapes, the hidden message, it wasn't just art anymore. It was my lifeline, and I had to protect it no matter the cost. As I lay awake that night on a rooftop, listening to the distant hum of LA traffic, I realized something terrifying. The city had always been my canvas, but now it was my trap, and I was running out of edges. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was always watching me, and it wasn't just the mafia. Detective Harper kept showing up in the corners of my life, lingering where he didn't belong. At first, I thought he was a stranger doing his job. Then I realized maybe he didn't trust me either. I met him one rainy afternoon near the downtown alleys. He leaned against a lamppost, hat pulled low, eyes narrowing as he studied me. Clara Vance, he said, voice low and steady. We need to talk. I tried to keep my voice calm, even though my chest felt tight. I don't think we do, I'm busy. He smirked slightly. Busy running from the people who saw a murder or busy covering for them? I froze. That line hit me like a bullet. Was he really accusing me, or was he testing me? You think I'm involved? I asked, trying to keep my tone steady. Maybe, maybe not, he said, flicking his cigarette into the rain. But you're acting like a ghost, Clara, and ghosts tend to leave evidence behind. I walked away quickly, adrenaline surging. I couldn't afford to be doubted by anyone, not the cops, not the city, not even myself. That night, I stared at the mural I had been working on, the one that had started it all. The colors seemed to pulse under the flickering streetlights. And then I noticed something I hadn't before. A subtle pattern in the lines, shapes forming symbols almost invisible unless you stepped back and let your eyes play with the angles. "Eli," I whispered into my phone, "come over, you have to see this." He arrived within the hour, guitar in hand, but this time he didn't strum. He crouched beside the mural, eyes scanning every brushstroke. "What am I looking for?" he asked, eyebrows raised. "Look at the shapes," I said, pointing. "See how the lines curve here, then break there? It's like a code. I think it's pointing to something." He leaned closer, tracing the patterns with his finger. "Clara, this is beyond art. This is a map." Or a message. My heart raced. Could it be possible that, without realizing it, I had left a breadcrumb trail to what I had witnessed? My mural wasn't just a protest, it was a secret. Maya arrived soon after, carrying her camera. "So what do we do with it?" she asked. Her voice was anxious but steady. "We decode it," I said, my fingers brushing the spray paint. "We figure out what it's pointing to, and we stay one step ahead of everyone else." And so our days turned into a strange rhythm of decoding and hiding. The mural became our guide, the city our labyrinth. Every alleyway, every fire escape, every forgotten stairwell held potential clues. Lucas helped by giving us maps of old buildings, alley systems, and maintenance tunnels. "Use the city like your canvas," he said, "but this time your art saves you." Jade stayed close, moving silently, guarding our backs when we went out to examine the mural under the night sky. I still didn't trust her fully, but necessity made her an ally. "We need to be careful," she said one night, crouching behind a dumpster. "People notice patterns, even the cops, even him." She nodded toward a shadowy figure in the distance. I clenched my fists. "I've got one advantage," I whispered. "I made this mural. I know it better than anyone else." Decoding wasn't easy. Each line, each curve, each splash of color could mean multiple things. But little by little, the pieces came together. A location, a timing, a hint of what had been hidden after the murder. Every night, I lay awake imagining the consequences if I got it wrong. If they found me before we uncovered the truth, if Detective Harper turned against me, if the code in the mural was discovered by the wrong people. But then I reminded myself why I started this. This wasn't just about surviving. It was about justice, about the people who had no voice. About making the city remember that even a single person could leave a mark so powerful it could shake the shadows. And for the first time in days, I felt a flicker of hope. The mural was more than paint on a wall. It was my key, my shield, my lifeline. And soon, it might be the city, too. The streets of Los Angeles had never felt smaller. Every corner, every alley, every flickering neon sign seemed to press closer, suffocating me with the knowledge that someone was hunting me. I wasn't just hiding anymore. I was running a maze with deadly consequences. Maya and Eli stayed close, our little crew moving like shadows. Lucas had given us a temporary safe house in an old warehouse, its walls covered with decades of peeling posters and graffiti, a perfect camouflage for someone like me. But even there, I felt eyes on me. That night, while I was scanning the mural for more hidden clues, I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps on metal stairs. My heart stopped. "Clara," Maya whispered, pressing herself against the wall. "They're here." I grabbed Eli's arm. "Stay quiet, don't move." Two figures appeared, moving with a precision that betrayed professional training. It wasn't random thugs, these were hunters. I ducked behind a stack of crates, trying to make myself as small as possible. One of them spoke, low and rough. "She has to be around here. Check the murals. The girl leaves marks." I realized then how dangerous my own work had become. The mural, the colors, the patterns, they were no longer just messages. They were breadcrumbs leading directly to me. Jade appeared out of nowhere, sliding along the shadows. She signaled me to follow, and without thinking, I did. We moved silently, climbing over fire escapes, leaping across narrow rooftops. The city beneath us pulsed with oblivious life, cars honking, music drifting from apartment windows. But up here, everything was a matter of survival. When we finally stopped on a deserted rooftop, Jade whispered, "You have to be smarter. They're not just after you. They want the information in your head, and the mural is the map." I swallowed hard. "I know, but every step I take feels like I'm leading them closer." She shook her head. "Then stop thinking like a civilian. Think like someone who controls the streets, like someone who controls the canvas." I stared at the mural in my mind's eye. Every splash of paint, every curve of line, every hidden symbol, I had to use them now. Not just as art, but as weapons. We spent hours planning. We set false markers on streets, left subtle visual cues that would mislead anyone trying to follow us. Lucas helped by providing tiny reflective markers and scraps of neon tape to create misleading paths. Eli strummed quietly, keeping our nerves steady, a soundtrack to our silent maneuvers. At one point, Maya whispered, "Clara, do you ever think about just disappearing? Leaving it all behind?" I looked at her, eyes sharp. "And let them win? No. If I disappear, they win. If I fight, even with just my art and my brain, I might just survive and maybe stop them." The next encounter was inevitable. One night, as I was moving through a back alley near the mural, one of the men cornered me. My pulse thundered in my ears. He stepped closer, and I instinctively reached for the spray can at my belt. "Stay still," he growled. I tilted my head, pretending to comply, and then in a split second sprayed a streak of bright yellow across a nearby wall. A subtle code only I and my team could understand. The man paused, confused, giving me just enough time to dart into the shadows. Jade met me a block away, panting. "That was too close." I nodded, adrenaline still coursing. Every brushstroke counts now. Every line is a lifeline. That night, I realized something crucial. My mural wasn't just a message, it was a map of survival. Every hidden symbol, every curve, every color choice could lead us to safety or to disaster if we misused it. The city had become a living maze. I was the artist and the prey, the hunter and the hunted. But through every narrow escape, every coded signal, every silent rooftop trek, I started to feel something powerful. Control. Not over the people hunting me, but over the story, over my own destiny. For the first time since witnessing the murder, fear didn't paralyze me entirely. It sharpened me. Every stroke of paint, every hidden symbol, every daring escape made me more alive than I had ever been. And in that adrenaline-fueled clarity, I made a silent vow. I would survive. I would decode the mural. I would turn my art into a weapon. And I would expose the truth, no matter what it cost. Detective Harper had been following me more than usual lately. At first, I thought it was coincidence. Maybe he just patrolled the areas where graffiti crews worked. But the way he lingered, the way his eyes tracked me without ever approaching directly, made me uneasy. I met him one rainy afternoon at a narrow alley near my mural. He leaned casually against a lamppost, cigarette smoke curling in the damp air. "Clara," he said, his voice low, even in the downpour. "We need to talk." I forced a smile, trying to mask the tension. "I don't think we do. Really, because you keep showing up at the wrong places at the wrong times. The murder, the mural, someone's connecting dots. Are you involved?" I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. "No, I saw something I shouldn't have. I'm just trying to survive." Harper's eyes narrowed. "You expect me to believe a random graffiti artist just happened to witness a mob hit and now plays hide-and-seek in back alleys? You need to understand, Clara, I don't know who you are." I felt a chill. His suspicion wasn't just casual, it was directed, almost personal. If he didn't believe me, the mafia could still catch me, and the cops might think I was part of the crime. I was trapped between two forces, both powerful, both potentially deadly. When I got home, Maya noticed my pale face. "Clara, you can't do this alone," she said softly. "Even Detective Harper, he's dangerous if he thinks you're lying." I nodded, staring at the mural in the corner of my room. The patterns, the hidden code, they weren't just clues anymore, they were lifelines. If I didn't decode them fast enough, the city would swallow me whole. Eli leaned against the doorway, guitar in hand. "We can't keep running forever," he said. "We need a plan that keeps us ahead, keeps the cops from thinking you're guilty, and keeps the mafia off our backs." I ran a hand through my hair. "The mural's the only thing I trust right now. It's the key. It tells me where to go, what to do, who to trust or not. Lucas helped by creating fake trails for anyone following us. Leave signs they'll follow," he said. "Symbols only you and your friends understand. Make the city your chessboard." That night, I set out to test a new escape route. Every corner, every shadow felt alive. I kept replaying Harper's words in my head. Could I convince him to trust me before the mafia found me? Or would he turn me in first, thinking I was the suspect? Jade joined me on the run, moving silently beside me. "You need to watch him too," she whispered. "Cops aren't always what they seem. Some of them follow orders, some follow evidence, and some, they follow the wrong lead." We reached the mural in the dead of night. I studied the hidden codes, tracing lines and shapes that pointed toward an abandoned storage yard. It could be a clue to where the evidence of the murder was hidden, maybe even the key to exposing the entire operation. Maya's voice was barely audible over the hum of the city. "Clara, are you sure about this? If Harper finds us here," I shook my head. "We don't have a choice. Either we decode it or we die running blindly." As we moved, shadows shifted around us, figures watching, waiting. The mafia had eyes everywhere, and now Detective Harper's scrutiny made every movement a potential trap. The tension was suffocating. I realized that surviving wasn't just about hiding anymore. It was about outthinking everyone, using my art, my instincts, my knowledge of the city, and even the people who claimed to be law enforcement. And in the midst of all this, I felt a strange clarity. Fear sharpened my senses. Every line on the mural, every symbol, every hidden code became a weapon. Not to hurt, but to survive, to expose the truth, and to stay alive long enough to reveal what had been buried in the shadows. By the time the first hints of dawn crept over the city, I had a plan forming. It was risky, maybe insane, but it was the only way. I would have to play Harper and the Mafia against each other while keeping my mural as a secret map. One wrong step and it would all end. But I wasn't going to let it end like that. Not now. Not ever. I stared at the mural for what felt like hours, tracing the lines with my fingers, letting the shapes settle into patterns I hadn't noticed before. Each color, each curve, every jagged line seemed random at first, but I knew better. My instincts screamed that this was more than art, it was a code. "Eli, look at this," I whispered, crouching beside him in the dim light of the warehouse. "See how these shapes line up? And these splashes of neon, they're not just decoration, they're pointing somewhere." He leaned closer, strumming a quiet chord on his guitar. "Pointing where?" I shook my head. "I don't know yet, but it has to be important. I can feel it." The pattern repeats, but only in certain sections, like a map hidden inside a mural. Maya adjusted her camera, zooming in on the lines. "Clara, do you really think the murder, the Mafia, could be connected to this?" I nodded slowly. "I have to assume so. Otherwise, why would I have unconsciously created a pattern that points to a location? My mural, it's not just protest anymore. It's a guide, and we have to decode it before they find us." Lucas joined us, spreading out old city maps and blueprints of abandoned warehouses. "If this is a location," he said, tapping on a corner of the mural, "then it matches the pattern of streets and alleys near where the murder happened. I think the code is giving you directions." Jade, leaning against the wall in the shadows, added quietly, "You're being hunted. Every step you take toward this location has to be careful. They'll notice. They'll come for you if they think you're onto something." I swallowed hard, my heart racing. "I know, but if we don't follow it, the evidence stays hidden. People die, and I can't let that happen." We spent the night piecing together the clues. I realized the mural was layered. Colors indicating direction, shapes representing street corners or abandoned buildings, and subtle symbols pointing toward hidden caches. It was brilliant and terrifying. At one point, Eli pointed out a series of small arrows hidden in the splashes of blue. "Clara. These are like tiny signs. They point north, then east, then back south. It's a trail." I traced the path with my fingers. "It's leading to a storage yard near the docks. That must be where they hid something important." Maya frowned. "If we go there, we could run straight into them, or Harper, or both." I looked at her, determination in my eyes. "I don't care, we can't hide forever. The mural chose this path, and if we follow it, maybe we can expose the truth." Jade finally nodded. "All right. But we go carefully. We move at night, we use rooftops, alleys, anything that keeps us off the streets. And we trust no one but each other." That night, we planned our route meticulously. Every exit, every fire escape, every shadow was accounted for. I realized that decoding the mural wasn't just about understanding the pattern, it was about using it to stay alive. As we set out, I felt a strange mixture of fear and exhilaration. My mural, my creation, was guiding us. It was telling us where to go, when to move, and what to avoid. And for the first time since witnessing the murder, I felt a glimmer of control. Somewhere deep in the warehouse district, hidden behind stacks of rusting containers, I knew the evidence awaited. And with each step we took following the mural's hidden directions, I knew we were getting closer to the truth. The city around us was silent, except for the distant hum of trucks and the occasional splash of water from a broken pipe. Every alleyway was a potential trap. Every shadow could hide eyes watching, waiting. But the mural, my mural, whispered guidance. And for now, that was enough. As we crouched behind a wall, looking toward the direction the mural indicated, I felt a surge of determination. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about justice. About proving that even a single person, armed only with art and determination, could uncover the truth hidden in the darkest corners of a city. And for the first time in weeks, I allowed myself a moment of hope. Maybe, just maybe, the mural could save us all. We spent the next day planning every detail. The storage yard the mural led us to wasn't just any abandoned building. It was a maze of rusting containers, old cranes, and cracked asphalt that could swallow someone whole. Any wrong step, and the Mafia or even Detective Harper could spot us. "Clara, are you sure about this?" Maya asked, pacing the warehouse. Her voice wavered between fear and determination. "It's dangerous. What if they're waiting for us?" I shook my head, gripping a stack of spray paint cans. "We don't have a choice. If the mural is right, the evidence is there. And if we don't find it, nothing changes. People die, and I can't live with that. Eli leaned against a table, strumming a low chord. We follow the map, we stay in the shadows, and we watch each other. Simple as that. Jade, silent until now, finally spoke. Simple is exactly the word I'd use. You're about to walk into their territory. They know this city. They've hunted people like us before, but I'll guide you. Just don't get cocky. That night, we moved under the cover of darkness. The streets of Los Angeles were quieter than usual, but I knew the calm was deceptive. Every alley we passed felt like a gauntlet. I kept replaying the mural's symbols in my mind, letting them guide each step. We reached the outskirts of the docks. Rusted containers loomed over us, casting long shadows in the faint glow of distant streetlights. The mural had indicated a specific pattern, bright blue symbols aligned with certain edges of the yard, almost like invisible pathways. Eli crouched beside me. This is insane. We're walking into the heart of danger based on a painting. I smiled grimly. Exactly, but it works. Maya and I moved first, testing the route. Each step had to be precise. We avoided open spaces, sticking close to walls and crates, watching for any sign of movement. Every sound, metal scraping, distant footsteps made my pulse spike. Then we heard it, a low murmur, voices speaking in harsh tones. I froze. One of the mafia's men was patrolling nearby. I motioned for everyone to stop. Jade pressed herself against my back. Wait for it, then move. Timing was everything. We waited, listening to the guard's steps echo across the asphalt. When they turned away, we darted forward, silent as shadows, moving closer to the area the mural had marked. Finally, we reached a stack of containers with symbols matching the mural's hidden code. My heart pounded in my chest. This was it, the place the mural had pointed to. I whispered to the group, "This is where it's hidden. Be ready." We carefully pried open a loose panel at the base of a container. Inside, I found it, a metal box, small but heavy, filled with documents, photographs, and recordings, the evidence of the murder and other crimes the mafia had committed. Maya gasped. "Clara, this is it. This is everything." I nodded, adrenaline still rushing. "We have it, now we just need to get out." But the night wasn't over. As we turned to leave, a flashlight beam cut through the darkness. "Stop right there," a voice shouted. We froze, the mafia had discovered us. Panic surged, but I forced myself to focus. The mural had given us the path in, and it would give us a path out. "Move," I hissed, signaling the team. We darted between containers, ducking low, letting the shadows guide us. Crates toppled behind us, metal clanging, but we kept moving, following the coded path etched into my mind from the mural. Somewhere in the chaos, Jade swung a chain to block the pursuer's path, giving us precious seconds to escape. Eli's guitar case was used as a shield to knock over a stack of boxes, creating another obstacle. By the time we reached the edge of the yard, lungs burning, hearts hammering, we were still alive. And in my backpack, the evidence that could bring the mafia down rested heavy, tangible, and real. As we finally disappeared into the night streets of Los Angeles, I felt a moment of triumph. The mural had guided us, my instincts had kept us alive, and together, we had taken the first step toward justice. But I knew this was just the beginning. The mafia would not forget, Detective Harper still doubted me, and the city remained a dangerous, unpredictable labyrinth. Yet for the first time in weeks, I allowed myself a smile. The mural was more than art now. It was a weapon, a lifeline, and maybe, just maybe, a way to change everything. The streets felt different after we left the storage yard. Every shadow seemed heavier, every flicker of light sharper. We had the evidence, but I knew the mafia wouldn't just let us walk away. Maya whispered behind me, "Clara, do you think they're following us?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The distant echo of footsteps, too rhythmic to be coincidence, confirmed my fear. Jade slid alongside me, her movements silent. "They're close. Stay low, stay fast." Eli clutched his guitar case, eyes scanning every alley. "This is insane. We can't keep running like this forever." We darted through narrow streets, the cityscape a blur of neon and shadows. Every turn had to be calculated. Every rooftop and alley was a potential trap. Then we heard a shout behind us. "Stop, she's here." I didn't hesitate. Adrenaline took over. We sprinted, dodging obstacles, leaping over trash cans and parked cars. The city became a playground for survival, every movement dictated by instinct and the mural's hidden directions. Jade led us through a series of back alleys, but then we hit a dead end. Metal gates blocked our path. The mafia was closing in. I cursed under my breath. "We need another way out." Eli's eyes darted around. "What about the rooftops?" I nodded. "Yes, let's go." We scrambled up fire escapes, balancing on narrow beams, hearts pounding with every step. Behind us, shouts grew louder, footsteps pounding on concrete. At one point, Maya stumbled. I grabbed her arm. Keep moving. Don't look back. We reached a higher rooftop and I saw it, a graffiti-covered wall that formed part of the mural's coded path. It was a hidden signal we had used before, but now it wasn't just a clue, it was our lifeline. Jade whispered, "They'll follow us up here. Watch the edges." And they did. Two figures emerged onto the adjacent roof, moving cautiously. I recognized the way they carried themselves, trained, professional, not just any mafia foot soldiers. I gritted my teeth. We have to split. Create confusion, we regroup at the corner warehouse. Eli looked nervous. "Are you sure?" I nodded. "It's the only way." We scattered, leaping across rooftops, ducking behind chimneys, using every trick the city had taught me. Metal clanged beneath our feet, sending echoes through the night. But the mural's code guided me. Every symbol, every color, every line pointed the way. Somewhere behind, I heard a crash and a shout. I didn't stop to check. Survival meant moving forward. Finally, after what felt like hours, we regrouped at a small warehouse Lucas had prepared. Hearts racing, lungs burning, we collapsed against the walls. Maya broke the silence. "That was too close." I shook my head. "It's not over, not yet. They know we have the evidence and they'll come back stronger." Jade finally spoke, her voice low. "Clara, you're lucky. Most people would be dead by now. But don't think this ends with running and hiding. You need a plan to finish this." I looked at the mural in my mind, traced the hidden paths, the secret signals. "We decode the rest," I said firmly. "We expose them, and we use the city. Every corner, every alley, every shadow is ours if we play it right." Eli nodded, determination replacing fear. "Then let's do it. No more running blind." Maya added, "We stick together, all of us. No exceptions." And for the first time since witnessing the murder, I felt a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. The city had tested us, the mafia had hunted us, but our art, the mural, was more than a canvas. It was our guide, our weapon, and our chance to turn the tables. The hunt was far from over, but now we were ready. It wasn't supposed to be a revelation. I thought Liam was just the quiet benefactor behind my art, the one who quietly funded supplies, murals, and occasional shows. He was mysterious, but harmless, or at least I believed that. Then the message came. A photograph slipped under my door, taken from a distance, showing the warehouse we had just fled from and my team moving through the shadows. A note scribbled across the corner read simply, "You think you're safe because of me?" I froze, my stomach twisted. My first thought went to Jade, but the handwriting wasn't hers. It was neat, precise, calculated. Liam's signature flourish at the bottom was unmistakable. I met him the next morning at his gallery, trying to keep my composure. "Liam. What's this about?" He smiled, a calm, almost comforting smile. "Clara, you've always had a knack for seeing patterns. Your murals, they're brilliant, but brilliance can be dangerous when it points to secrets people want to hide." I felt a chill. "Secrets, what do you mean?" He leaned in, voice soft but firm. "The people you're chasing, the mafia, they're connected to everything I've supported. Every mural, every show, every donation, it's all part of a bigger picture. Now you've stumbled into something you weren't meant to see." I stepped back. You're involved?" He didn't answer immediately. His eyes stayed on mine, steady and calm. "I've always been careful. I've watched from the shadows, ensured the art thrived, kept the city vibrant. But you went too far." Maya, who had quietly followed me, whispered, "Clara, is he?" I shook my head, disbelief coursing through me. "I trusted him. I thought he was helping us." Eli tightened his grip on his guitar case. "You mean he's working with them? Or controlling them?" Liam's smile was unreadable. "It's complicated. Let's just say I have my own reasons for funding art, and sometimes funding is protection, sometimes it's manipulation, and sometimes it's a test." I felt my hands shake. Every brushstroke I had made, every mural, every secret pattern, it had all been under his watchful eye. Every move we made might have been anticipated. Jade finally broke the tension. "He's playing both sides, Clara." "He's not your ally, not really." I stared at Liam, the sense of betrayal burning in my chest. Why would you do this?" He shrugged, calm and almost casual. "Because art doesn't exist in a vacuum. People, power, influence, they intersect. I wanted to see what you could do when tested. And now you've proven yourself, but be careful. The city has ears, eyes, and teeth." I walked away, the weight of the revelation pressing down. The murals weren't just my art, they were watched, manipulated, and potentially a tool in someone else's game. Every coded path, every hidden clue, every survival move could have been foreseen by someone I trusted. Maya followed silently. "Clara, we can't panic, we just keep moving. Use what we know, trust the mural, trust each other." I nodded, trying to steady my thoughts. "You're right. Liam might be playing both sides, but the mural, the evidence, that's ours. and we'll finish this on our terms. Eli strummed softly. And if he interferes again? I smiled grimly. Then he learns that art is more than guidance, it's resistance, and I don't break easily. That night, I stood before my mural, tracing the coded lines, feeling both the weight of betrayal and the spark of determination. Liam's watchful eyes had tried to manipulate us, but the truth, the evidence, the lives at stake, the murals themselves belonged to us. And in that moment, I realized something crucial. The city, the murals, the patterns, they were mine. Liam could watch, but he couldn't control. Not anymore. The night air was thick with tension as we moved toward the warehouse district again. The evidence was safe for now, but the mafia was relentless. Every shadow felt like it could contain a gun, every alleyway like a trap. I pulled Maya, Eli, and Jade close. We follow the mural. Every symbol, every line, it's our path, our shield. Stick close, trust it, trust each other. Lucas handed me a small flashlight, flicking it off immediately. Subtle, don't let them see any light, they'll know we're coming. The plan was simple in theory: use the mural's code to approach the mafia's hideout undetected, plant distractions, and gather further proof of their crimes. Simple, but deadly if miscalculated. As we neared the building, I traced the mural's symbols in my mind. The angles, the hidden curves, they pointed to weaknesses in the perimeter, gaps in surveillance, shadows where we could move unseen. Eli whispered, "Clara, this is insane. You're leading us straight into their lair." I smiled grimly. And if we do it right, we come out alive with everything we need to end this. We reached the first set of containers marking the outer boundary. I crept ahead, using the mural's hidden directions to navigate the labyrinth. Every step was measured, every breath controlled. Then we heard footsteps behind us, 2 mafia enforcers patrolling too close to the path. I signaled the others to hide. We flattened against the metal, waiting for the men to pass. The air was thick with tension. One wrong move and we'd be caught. When they moved on, I led the team closer to the warehouse. Each symbol on the mural guided our steps, like whispers from the wall itself. We bypassed cameras, avoided open spaces, and found the side entrance the mural indicated. Jade pressed her hand to my shoulder. "Ready?" I nodded, taking a deep breath. "Let's finish this." Inside, shadows stretched across the room, crates piled high. The mafia was distracted, some counting cash, others talking in low voices. I recognized a few from the night I witnessed the murder. My stomach twisted, but I focused. The mural had one final instruction, a subtle pattern leading to the room where key documents and recordings were hidden. I guided Maya and Eli, careful to avoid detection. We reached a small office tucked in a corner. I pried open a drawer, revealing folders and a laptop, proof of bribes, murders, money laundering, everything we needed to expose the operation. Maya gasped. "Clara, we actually found it." But the victory was short-lived. A voice boomed from behind. "Thought you could sneak in here unnoticed?" I froze. The mafia's leader stepped out from the shadows. My heart stopped when I recognized him, not just any man, but Liam. My trusted benefactor, the one who had funded my murals, now standing before me as the orchestrator of the entire operation. "You," I whispered, disbelief coursing through me. He smiled coldly. "Did you really think art was ever free, Clara? That your murals, your patterns, your little codes weren't mine to watch? I've guided you, tested you, and now you've reached the final act." I clenched my fists. "You won't get away with this. I have the evidence, and I know the paths, the secrets, everything." Liam's grin didn't falter. "Then let's see if your art can save you." In that moment, I realized survival meant using everything, the mural, the city, the skills we had honed to outsmart him. Every line of paint I had ever placed, every symbol coded into my work now became a weapon. I whispered to my team, "Distract him. Split. Follow the mural. Trust it." Chaos erupted. Maya knocked over a stack of boxes, Eli hurled a chair, creating noise and confusion. I followed the mural's coded path to a hidden exit, grabbing the folders as I went. Shadows danced across the walls as we ran, the echoes of footsteps behind us. We burst into the alley, hearts hammering, lungs burning, and finally, after a tense sprint through the city streets, we were free. The mural had guided us, every symbol and curve had been a lifeline. I looked back once, seeing Liam's figure receding into the shadows. He had underestimated the mural, underestimated us, underestimated the will of someone who refused to be controlled. We were alive, we had the evidence, and the truth was finally in our hands. We didn't waste a moment. The evidence we carried was heavy not just in weight, but in consequence. Each folder, each recording was a thread that could unravel Liam's empire. But I knew exposing him would be dangerous. The mafia was powerful, and he had eyes everywhere. I gathered the team in the safe house, spreading out the documents and laptop. This is it, I said, voice steady despite the adrenaline still coursing. Everything they've done, every crime, every murder, every bribe, it's all here. Maya leaned over, scanning a folder. Clara, this is insane. If we turn this in, it ends them. But it's not just them. Liam, he's smart. He'll know we're the ones behind it. I nodded, determination hardening. We don't have a choice. The city has to know. People have to see the truth. We expose them and we stop them from hurting anyone else. Eli strummed his guitar, a nervous rhythm filling the room. So, we go public? Exactly, I said. We send the documents to the media, law enforcement, anyone who can act, and we use the mural. The patterns, the symbols, the hidden clues, they all show how we discovered it. That way, no one can twist the story to blame us. Jade's eyes were sharp. We need a distraction. They'll come for us the moment they know what we've done. I smiled grimly. Then we give them one. We let the city think we're in one place while the real work happens somewhere else. The mural tells us the way. That night, we moved. Every symbol, every curve, every hidden line guided us through back alleys, rooftops, and abandoned warehouses. Liam's men were searching, but we were always one step ahead. Finally, we reached a location where the signal from the mural converged. Using a small projector and the files from the laptop, we transmitted the evidence to multiple media outlets, live streaming it to the public. Photos, recordings, documents, all laid bare. Maya's voice trembled. Clara, it's working. People are seeing it. I felt a surge of relief and fear all at once. The city would react, the mafia would respond, and Liam would be furious. But the truth was out. That was what mattered. Suddenly, a shadow fell across the projector light. Liam appeared, calm and terrifying. Impressive, he said, voice cold. You've exposed everything, but you still don't understand. Art can guide, but it can't save you from me. I took a step forward, standing tall despite the fear. Art saved me, the mural saved us, and now the truth will save everyone else. You can't control it anymore. He smiled thinly. We'll see. Gunfire cracked from the distance, his men attempting to storm our location. Chaos erupted, but the mural's coded paths had given us an escape route. We split, moved, and disappeared into the city, shadows among shadows, until the sounds of pursuit faded. Finally, safe in a hidden rooftop hideout, I looked at my friends. We did it. The evidence is out. The city knows. Maya hugged me, relief pouring out. Clara, you actually did it. Eli grinned, exhaustion and triumph on his face. The mural, it really did guide us. Jade nodded, eyes sharp but satisfied. You survived, Liam. You outsmarted him. That's something no one else could do. I leaned against the wall, finally letting myself breathe. We survived, we exposed the truth, and we made sure people who can't defend themselves have a voice. That's why we do this. That's why art matters. The city slept below us, unaware of the small group of rebels who had used color, shape, and courage to shine light into the shadows. For the first time, I felt a sense of purpose that went beyond survival. And as the first light of dawn touched the rooftops, I whispered to myself, this is just the beginning. The city was buzzing. Social media, news outlets, every corner of Los Angeles was alive with the story. The evidence we had released had ignited outrage, fear, and curiosity. People were talking, sharing, questioning, demanding justice. Maya sat beside me, scrolling through endless feeds. Clara, look at this. People are painting murals inspired by yours. They're writing messages of hope, defiance. There. Following your lead. I felt a shiver run down my spine. I didn't expect that. I just wanted to expose the truth. Eli leaned back, strumming softly. But that's the thing, Clara. You did more than expose the truth. You gave people a voice, a way to fight back. That's powerful. Jade, standing by the window, scanned the streets below. And Liam, he won't disappear quietly. He's dangerous and he knows we've outsmarted him. We need to stay careful. I nodded, thinking about the mural, the coded lines, every escape route we had memorized. We will, but we also need to make sure this change lasts. The city can't just forget. People have to see that standing up, speaking out, creating it matters. Over the next few days, news of arrests and investigations poured in. The mafia's operations were being dismantled. Liam was on the run, his network unraveling under public scrutiny and law enforcement action. The city had shifted, even if slightly, toward justice. Maya, Eli, and Jade gathered on a rooftop where we had once escaped from danger. I looked out over the city, feeling a mix of exhaustion and hope. We made a difference, I said quietly. We didn't just survive. We used our voices, our art, to change something. Eli smiled. And we'll keep doing it. The mural isn't just paint on a wall, it's a symbol now. People see it, feel it, act on it. Maya nodded, camera in hand. You became more than an artist, Clara. You became a symbol. People are inspired by you, by your courage. I took a deep breath, letting the city sounds wash over me, the hum of traffic, distant music, footsteps echoing on streets and alleys. Art has always been about expression, about connection. Now it's also about resistance and hope, and that feels worth every risk. Jade finally spoke, a rare smile crossing her face. You taught us something important, Clara. That even in the darkest moments, we can find a way to fight back, and maybe inspire others to do the same. I traced a line of color in my mind, imagining the mural glowing under the city lights. Every shape, every curve, every hidden code had carried us here, and now it was carrying the city forward. The sun rose over Los Angeles, casting golden light on the rooftops and streets. I felt a sense of calm determination. We had survived, we had exposed the truth, and the city had seen it. And as the light touched my mural one last time, I whispered, "This is just the beginning. We keep creating, we keep resisting, we keep hoping." The city was alive, and so were we, ready to face whatever came next with courage, creativity, and the unbreakable bond of those who dared to stand for the truth. The city had changed, and so had I. Every alley, every rooftop, every mural told a story of survival, defiance, and truth. But the journey wasn't over, not for me, not for my friends, and not for the people who had started to see art as more than expression. I met Maya, Eli, and Jade at our favorite hidden rooftop. The skyline stretched before us, golden light spilling over concrete and glass. "We've come a long way," I said quietly. Maya smiled, camera in hand, capturing the glow of dawn. "More than you realize, Clara, you've inspired people. They're creating, fighting, speaking out, all because you dared to act." Eli strummed his guitar, a gentle rhythm filling the air. And the mural, it's everywhere now. People aren't just looking, they're thinking, connecting, questioning. That's the power you gave them. I felt a lump in my throat. I didn't do it alone. Every step, every escape, every plan, it was all of us, together. Jade nodded, her eyes scanning the city below. And that's why we survived Liam, the mafia, all of it. We trusted each other, and we used what we had, the murals, our knowledge of the city, our instincts. We turned the city into our ally. I traced a line in my mind, remembering every symbol, every hidden code that had saved our lives. It wasn't just survival. It was art guiding us, protecting us, showing us the way. And now it can guide others too. At that moment, a group of young street artists approached the rooftop, carrying cans of paint, stencils, and brushes. They looked at me with admiration and hope. "You're Clara Vance, right?" one of them asked. "Your murals, they changed everything. We want to create like that, fight like that." I smiled, a mix of pride and humility. "Then don't just copy. Find your own voice. Your art, your courage, your choices, they can change the world too. Start with what you believe in and never be afraid to speak." Maya, Eli, and Jade stood beside me, our hands brushing as a silent affirmation. We had survived, but more than that, we had sparked a movement, a small rebellion of creativity, courage, and truth. As the sun rose higher, I realized something profound. The city had been a canvas, the mural a map, and our journey a testament to resilience. The fear, the danger, the betrayals, they had all shaped us, made us stronger, and given us purpose. I took a deep breath, feeling the wind on my face, the warmth of the sun, and the presence of my friends. "This is it," I whispered. "The art, the fight, the hope, it doesn't end here, it spreads, and that's what matters." We watched as people in the streets began creating murals inspired by ours, colors bright against gray walls, messages bold and defiant. I realized then that our story, our courage, was no longer ours alone. It belonged to the city, to the people, to anyone who dared to stand against injustice. And in that moment, I knew that no matter what dangers came next, we had already won something far greater, the power to change hearts, minds, and the world through art, courage, and unity. I turned to my friends, a sense of peace settling in. We survived, we fought, and we inspired. That's what art can do. That's what we can do. Eli strummed the final chord. Maya raised her camera. Jade smiled. And I, Clara Vance, took one last look at the city we had fought to protect, knowing that our story, our mural, would live on forever. The sun fully rose over Los Angeles, painting the streets, the rooftops, and our hearts with hope, courage, and the promise that even one person, armed with art and determination, could make a difference. Weeks passed, and the city was alive in a way I had never seen before. Streets that had once been quiet, overlooked, or dangerous were now vibrant with murals, colors, messages of resistance and hope. People were speaking up, creating and demanding change. I met with Maya, Eli, and Jade on the rooftop where we had celebrated our first victory. "The city, it's different," Maya said, awe in her voice. "People are actually paying attention now. They're not afraid to stand up." Eli smiled. "And the mafia, Liam?" I shook my head. "Law enforcement is handling them." The arrests, the investigations, it's finally catching up. Liam's empire is crumbling. The people who followed him blindly are realizing they were wrong, and those who survived his manipulation are starting to take back the streets. Jade crossed her arms, a rare soft expression on her face. You made a difference, Clara. Not just surviving, not just escaping, but changing the way the city thinks. People see that art can challenge power. I looked at my friends, gratitude and pride welling up. We did this together. Every mural, every escape, every coded line, it was all about trust, courage, and using what we had to make the city better. Maya tilted her camera toward me. And now people look to you. They see you as more than an artist, they see a leader, a symbol. What do you do with that? I smiled softly. I keep creating. I keep inspiring. I don't lead by force, but by example. If even one person feels empowered to speak out, to resist injustice, to use their talent to make a change, then everything we went through was worth it. Eli strummed a gentle chord. Then the mural it lives on, doesn't it? Exactly, I said. Every wall we painted, every hidden symbol, every story, it's all alive now. People add to it, continue it. The mural isn't just mine anymore. It belongs to the city, to everyone who believes in change. That night we stood together, looking over Lowe's angels. The streets were alive with color and voices, proof that art and courage could reshape even the darkest corners. The fear, the chaos, the danger, all of it had led to this moment of hope and renewal. I whispered to myself, we survived, we fought, we changed the city, and we'll keep fighting. That's what art can do. That's what people can do when they refuse to be silenced. And as the lights of the city shimmered below, I knew that while Liam and his cronies had tried to control, manipulate, and intimidate, they had failed. The power of truth, courage, and art was stronger than any shadow, any threat. Together with Maya, Eli, and Jade, we turned back to the mural one last time. Every brushstroke, every hidden code, every color was a reminder that creativity and bravery could overcome fear. I felt a sense of peace I hadn't known in weeks. The city was alive, the people empowered, and our journey, our fight, had made a lasting mark. The sun began to rise, golden light spilling across the rooftops, the murals, the streets. And in that light, I knew the message was clear. Courage, creativity, and unity could change the world. One mural, one person, one voice at a time. The city was quiet now, but not empty. It hummed with life, with voices that had once been silenced, now speaking, creating, and resisting. I walked through the streets, past murals I had painted, past new ones inspired by us, and felt a strange mix of pride and humility. Maya was beside me, snapping photos of street art that told stories of courage and hope. Clara, look at this. People are telling their own stories now. They're carrying the movement forward. I smiled, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the sun. That's exactly what I hoped for. Art isn't just about the person who paints it, it's about the people it touches, the change it inspires. Eli strummed a soft chord, leaning on a wall covered with vibrant graffiti. You know, we survived everything, and look at this. The city, it's alive in a way it never was before. I nodded. We did more than survive. We made people realize that even one voice, one brushstroke, one act of courage can make a difference. That's the power we have. Jade stood quietly, watching children add their own colors to a wall. You've given them something no one can take away. Hope, courage, a way to fight without weapons, just art and determination. I looked at my friends, my team, the people who had risked everything with me. We did this together. Every escape, every plan, every coded mural, it was never about me alone. It was about us, about the city, about showing people that change is possible. As the sun rose fully, golden light spilling across the streets, the murals, and the people, I realized that the journey we had taken, from fear to survival to empowerment, was more than a story. It was a message that even in the darkest times, courage, creativity, and unity could overcome fear. That art could challenge power, expose truth, and give a voice to those who were silenced. That every act of bravery, no matter how small, could inspire countless others. I breathed in the city air, the scent of paint, concrete, and life itself. This is just the beginning, I whispered. For me, for the city, for everyone who dares to stand up and speak out. And as we walked together, side by side, past murals that now pulsed with color and meaning, I knew that our story, our courage, our art, our fight would live on. In the streets, in the hearts of people, in every mural painted with hope and defiance. We had survived, we had fought, and we had changed the city. And the message was clear. No one is powerless when they use their voice, their creativity, and their courage to make a difference. The city stretched before us, alive, vibrant, and full of possibility. And in that light, I knew that the journey, though dangerous and uncertain, was worth every risk. For art, for truth, and for hope, we could all be heroes in our own way.